interesting interview. So I ran into this young lady on Clubhouse. Her name is Natascha, and she's going to tell us a little bit about who she is and all that good stuff. We'll get into it in just a minute. But here's one thing I want to talk to you guys about. All right. Clubhouse has evolved into a place, a space where a lot of different people come onto the platform, right? When I started back on Clubhouse, it's been a year already. Oh my gosh, right? Clubhouse was like the place where everybody's just kind of figuring it out, trying to see what they were going to do on it. Now people have become masters at knowing what to do on Clubhouse, how to do it, and utilizing a strategy to really grow their business. And Natascha is one of the people, one of the folks, I'm going to say that, one of the people, I was going to say one of the peoples. Y'all know me, y'all know I'll be flubbering. She is one of the folks who will help you moderate on Clubhouse, but she has an amazing twist to the women that she teaches. So I'm going to have her talk a little bit about that. So Natascha, welcome to Josh Speaks Digital. I'm super excited to hear about your content creation journey on Clubhouse. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Well, thank you for having me here. And I appreciate your viewers or listeners for listening in to what we're going to share.
Oh, they're going to be watching us on YouTube too. So y'all going to see my background and all that stuff. So it's all good.
Anywho, I'm Natascha Hardee from Hardee Life, because yes, you do deserve a Hardee life. And you know, what do? I am a midlife moderator, mentor on Clubhouse, along with being a dynamic lifestyle coach who ignites joyful energy shifts in women over the age of 50 through dance, conversation, music, and movement, so they can release their inhibitions, figure out what's holding them back, amplify their superpower so they can live a life of fulfillment. And that's what I do, honey, and so much more.
All right, then. All right. So let's get into it then. Tell me why you hopped on a Clubhouse. Like, what was the attraction? Why did you go to Clubhouse?
Had no attraction at all. I was working with a social media. I'm just trying to be.
She's like, yeah, none.
No, didn't have any. The youngin that I was working with at the time, a social media person, and she was like, "You got to get on Clubhouse. You got to get on Clubhouse." And I was like, "Child, I ain't trying to learn another app. Okay, I'm struggling with IG, LinkedIn. I'm struggling with all of it, and I just don't want to." And she was like, "You got to miss Natascha. You have to miss Natascha." I said, "All right." Well, so she. Y'all know how your mamas and them do. You know how we do when you talk to us about technology. And so I got on Clubhouse, and it was very overwhelming in the beginning. And I really couldn't figure out what was what. And I really wasn't aware that they had places for you to be so you can find out, figure it out. I stumbled and bumbled all on my own. And let me tell you, in 2 weeks, I was hosting a room. I didn't know what I was doing, and I was scared to death. And I got on the room, initially got on rooms talking about, the rooms I got on was talking about grandparents raising their grandchildren and adults that were raised by their grandparents, because I'm a single grandparent raising a grandchild. So I wanted to get on there, right? And so I was scared to death. Most people are like, "No, you wasn't." Yeah, I was scared. Anyway, I went from one to the other, just hosting these rooms, kind of haphazardly with my content, not really being on point. And then I stumbled upon the Midlife Network or whatever they was doing. And I found all these women in their 50s and in their midlife that were doing amazing things. And I had to be seen. And the other thing I found out on Clubhouse is I was like, this is like being on the radio, right? So people have to be able, like I'm going to be 59 in a couple of weeks. So I had to take my thinking back to when I was on the when we had radio regularly, wasn't that long ago. And what do they do? And so when you listen to old years ago, before there was TV, they had all these whistles and all this stuff. So I would have my clapper and I would come on and I was like, "You got to hype yourself up. You got to hype yourself up." So when they would say, "There is Natascha in the audience, you're next. What would you like to say?" And I would say, "Happy Monday. I celebrate you, all you ladies here." And I have my clapper and go, I have a clapper, but it's somewhere around here. I don't have it to show you. And that was my mark. I love your energy. I love your energy. You are so that opened it up. And then I made friendships with people. One of them is Lennis Woods Mullins. She had to connect with me. She actually had a summit, her and another woman today, and I opened up the summit. So you build relationships. And I started to really get intentional about being on Clubhouse with what I was talking about, wellness. And, I stumbled and bumbled until I really figured out. So Clubhouse has really taught me how to create content. Clubhouse so now I used to host like 10 to 12 rooms a week. And in hosting the rooms, I began to co-moderate with people and train them how to moderate their room, because I was like, we need to tweak this a little bit. I'm a trained speaker. I went to speaking school and whatever. So I just used that along with some other things from teaching my students, personal training, speaking in groups of people, and just and coaching school, and working in workshops, and combined all of that to begin to create my own method of working with midlifers in this space. So my thing was encouraging them. Come on, y'all, you can talk. Come say what you gotta say. You got a good point. Let's do this together. And so I would moderate with them for 4 weeks, co-moderate, and I would help support them. And I had the energy to do it. And that's how I build this concept of moderating with midlifers, because a lot of the women are fledgling, and this, you work with women in this demographic. A lot of them are very afraid to take a next step, to move from one, but if they have somebody that looks like them, that has gray hair, has a couple of wrinkles, and has a little wisdom behind it, like, oh, well, she's doing it, and she's doing it proudly and okay, and telling me it's all right to make a mistake, I can do it. And then I began to formulate my coaching program, which I figured that a lot of these people don't need coaching, right? They don't need coaching. They're wise. A lot of them are orators. I have somebody who is a pastor that I've trained and worked with. They conduct webinars and workshops and all that stuff. But on Clubhouse, everything is in sound bites. And to be able to bring people into a point of bringing your content down to sound bites, that is where the trick is. And making your content go like this and condense it like this, and then be able to give value and encouragement to people at the same time. So that's how I did what I did. And I want to remind you, you're on mute.
Nope, I'm just saying, yep. If I unmuted myself, every other word would be, oh yeah, all in this podcast. But they all know, right? That I like to keep it real, and I like to also just make sure that we're in the moment, and that we're not so. This is a produced podcast for sure. Now, I don't want it to be so overly produced that you don't see some of the things that I do, and that you all can take from it, right? Always be in the moment. So with that being said, energetic content is something that I just really started to think about when you were talking. So what are some key elements to energetic content?
I feel like the big thing for people, because they're not seeing themselves on camera, it really is about, and I graduated from the High School of Performing Arts, fun fact. I trained as a dancer, but we did drama, and you have to
I totally see that all in your vibe. I mean, I got that as soon as you got up on the Zoom call. I was like, she reminds me so much of my African dance teacher in high school. Yeah.
Did African dance. So the thing is this, right? You have to be a little over the top. So I can't come on here and go, hi, Jessica, how are you? Yes, I speak on Clubhouse and I'm a moderator. Nobody wants to hear that. And I told my granddaughter, she said at one time, she said she wanted to be a YouTuber. And I said, well, you have to be excited and animated, because don't nobody want to see anybody boring and monotone. So you're going to have to do a little, and be on there for people to.
Yes, we call it pattern interrupt in the video world. Pattern interrupt.
Yes, yes, and people want to see that. I said, who are you watching that is like, yeah, no, no. So you have to really on Clubhouse, because people don't even see you. You have to bring that. So that's why I bought my clapper. That's why now I always come in when people, whatever day of the week it is. Happy Monday to you. Happy Friday to you. Happy Friday. You know, I come in with a song. How y'all doing today? I got my little jingle, heart, Natascha Hardee from Hardee Life, because you deserve a heart. People are like, who that? Let me listen. You know, that's what energetic content is about.
So it's all about the intro, is what you're saying.
It's about the intro. It's about the inflection in your voice. It's about you lowering your voice to make a delivery, to get people's attention, to raise your voice, to make a point, right? It's all about the inflections in your voice and being energetic, being involved. And that's why I always encourage people to speak about what are you passionate about? If you're passionate about something, I'm going to get all of that. I'm going to get all of that. But if you're not passionate, I'm not going to get none of it.
And it's amazing how many times I've actually spoken to folks, and we're talking about their content and all that good stuff. And I sit down with them and I'm like, okay, tell me what you want to do. And they're like, oh, you want to do this? I'm going to do that. Okay, what do you want your content to talk about? Okay, I want this. And then I go, tell me about your childhood. Tell me what's the one thing people come to you for. Oh, they came to me for this. And I really used to love to do that. And I'm like, that's what we need to be talking about. That's what we need to pull out. Right. And I've actually had a couple of folks that have signed up for consultations who have left me and gotten mad because I'm like, you shouldn't be doing this. You should be doing that other thing we talked about. I was like, no. And I can't help you promote that because it's just it's not going to work. There's no energy behind it whatsoever. Right. So how are the ways that you find out from your clients what they should be saying and how they can put that out there into the world so that they can get the return on investment, right? Because you're an investment that they're making in order to learn how to moderate. So how do you figure out what they should be talking about?
You know what? I don't figure out what they should talk about. A lot of people come to me saying, like, for example, Kareem Canston, the encourager, he speaks once a week, and he speaks about small business grants, power hour. And so he comes in and he just talks to people about how they can get small business grants. And he has a woman that works with him, Shauna, who talks about this on a level of non-for-profits. And this is really powerful. And I go there. My job is to talk about my experience, what I've learned from him and how it has impacted me. So, you know, I won't bore you with the details, but he is really.
How do you make that exciting? Because it sounds like that's very like.
It really isn't. It really is not. There's so much money out here, and he's an orator. He used to pastor. He used to be a pastor, so he knows how to. He has his introduction. I'm Kareem Canston, the encourager, the grant man. I'm here to motivate and uplift. He has his own.
So in that respect, you are telling them you're telling them what type of content to put out there or how to name themselves even, right? So is that something that you work on with him?
I do, but for him, I didn't, because he already had this. But what happens is when we first started, it was he and I would ask him questions. So what about such and such and such? What about this, and that? Well, what do you do with da 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 da? Well, I had this phone call this week about blah, 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 blah. And so when my clients come, I have another woman who is a sex expert, and she writes erotic novels. However, when she gets on Clubhouse, she's all she hasn't pulled it together yet, because we still working on tweaking her stuff, right? And she's there, but what happens with midlifers is we are so stuck on being right and perfect, right? That something as exciting as listening to a sexpert who speaks about erotica gets to be very like yawn, because because she's, it's the opposite of the grant man, right? the grant man is creating excitement and he has a room full of people, and then the sexpert people come in and then they just disappear because they she hasn't gotten her mojo in that yet. She hasn't gotten her swing in that. And the same thing with someone else I was working with who does presentations all the time, and she wanted to teach women or people how to get six-figure businesses through childcare, but she still was very in a flux about what she wanted to do. And I can't help you if you're in a flux. I can only support you when you know what you're passionate about and you're talking about that. You can't tell me you want to talk about boats, and then when you're an expert in boating, right? And then when you get on, you're talking about the weather. You want to teach people how to know about the weather. It's like, we need to, like you were telling your people.
They need clarity.
Yes, you need clarity. And then nobody would show up in her rooms because she also had a difficult time following the template. What was the template? The template is give me a topic, give me 5 or 6 subtopics. Let's talk into those subtopics. I created the Google Doc. I gave it to her. Okay, I'm studying. Week 2, she shows up with her slide deck on her computer. And I was just like, what are we doing?
Yeah, been there.
The Google Doc that I told you to read from. Now you're hearing all of this in the background, right? But you're trying to find a slide to say what you want to say. Like, I only know.
You know what? It's really hard to break someone out of that, though, when they have been taught and just brought into slides. You gotta have a slide. You gotta be and that's what they equate to professionalism, right? Instead of it being uniquely you. And let me just tell everyone that's listening, or if you're watching this, you have to switch that up. You cannot. This is the new age. We ain't back in the day anymore where it was like, no, you don't talk about your family. You don't talk about anything else you like. You don't do any of that because people don't want to know. No, people want to know. They want to know who you are in order to connect with you and buy from you. And you have to put that out there. So when you have a client like that, or you have someone that's just totally, they don't want to accept what you're telling them, what are the ways that you break down the walls? Because it's obviously there's some walls there that you need to break down.
You know, here's what I do. I let them do it their way and let them see how it works. They do it their way. That not knowing how to pull out their content, not knowing how to speak in sound bites, not knowing how to deliver their content in sound bites, not knowing how to work the platform, not knowing that a room doesn't have to be an hour. It can be however long they want it, 5, 10, 15, 30, 80 hours. The just overall not trusting themselves or believing in themselves. Yeah. Is that a soundbite enough for you?
Yes, absolutely. I feel like those are all the struggles that I also see in just creating content on Instagram or YouTube, whatever platform, choose the platform. It's the same struggle. It's the fear of what people are going to say, what they're going to do. Well, maybe I don't know enough, or maybe I'm not expert enough, or, I'm just getting started. I might need a little bit more, all of those things. What are some ways in which you help them overcome that? Or what are some tips you can give to the audience if they are themselves struggling with that?
Also, one real quick is fear of getting started. That's the other thing. Just to get started on Clubhouse or even any live is a big struggle as well. So the tip I would say is just get started. Just get started. Just try it out. And the other thing I tell people is, spoke to a young lady today. She's doing a room. I said, your room doesn't have to be an hour. She was like, really? And I was like, yeah, your room doesn't have to be an hour. You can do a half an hour room. Oh, yeah? Yes. You can do a room for 15 minutes. If you get on there and you see nothing has happened, get the hell off of there. You don't have to drag that out for an hour. Wow, that is amazing, Natascha. Yes, have your content written down. You get nervous when you get on it. I have my stuff written down. I have my stuff on a Google Documents because we're on audio. It's sitting right in front of me and I'm talking to people on the phone like this. And I'm like, Okay, and I can scroll through my document and go to various parts of it and talk, but all my stuff is in sound bites. They're in bullet points and small sentences so that I can get to what I want to get to. And that is the perk of that. So what do we say? We say, get started with your content and sound bites, have your content in front of you or write it in a notebook. Take notes. Take notes of what people are saying, because that's future content for you. Take notes of what people are saying. Listen, go to other people's rooms and listen in their rooms. See how people are moderating and see if that's the way you want to moderate or don't want to moderate, you know, because you can be like, child, I don't want to do that. The other thing is have people in your rooms. Try to get co-moderators in your room or go get guests that'll be on your stage that will support you, that you trust. You got to get people you trust come in your room who's going to either pull people, assign them, they delegate, like you pull the people up to the stage or decide you're going to tuck people down on stage. And you may have to have a bodyguard on the stage. I want you there so you can get anybody that come up on my room and derail my room, because they do. Because they do. I'm not having it. You ain't coming in my room doing that to me. If you want to host a room, dagnabbit, get on there and host a room. But people will come up on your room, in your room, and they will start like being on your floor.
Yeah, they'll try to take over. Yeah.
Take over, be on there talking for 5-10 minutes, and you like, wait, and it throws you. I tell people all the time, I'm like, people gonna come in your room and they gonna act a fool. They gonna act a fool. You better be ready. So I had somebody had to do that in a room a couple of weeks ago, and my clients was on the stage, and I said, oh, she's going there. I was like, this is a time for me to show my clients how to do that. I said, oh, I'm gonna be an interruption for you right now. Oh, yes. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be interrupt. Thank you for all that you shared. Let me reset the room right now. She put herself back in the audience. Can I tell you? Put herself back in the audience. Yes, she did. Because I'm not gonna have it. You're not gonna come in my room doing what you want to do. So that's the other thing. You may have to have a bodyguard on your team.
Because you have to own the stage. You have to own the stage and keep the vibe and your energy of your room, your vibe and your energy. You have to protect that.
Otherwise, you're letting people know that other people can come up and do the same thing. It's your ship. You steer it how you want to steer it. And you have the right to tell people, I'm going to tuck you down in the audience. Thank you very much. That's how you get people in check. So these are ways that these are tips and exercises for you to do. So for people to maneuver through Clubhouse in a way that works for them.
What is the main thing that you want? Why would you want them to come to Clubhouse? Why do you feel like every midlife woman should be utilizing this platform for themselves or for their business? Or do you feel like some of them shouldn't? I'd love to hear your insight on just the midlifers being in that space.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's the deal. If you're in business, if you have a message, if you're an expert and you desire to communicate your message, you get to be on Clubhouse. It may not be for everyone, which I get. It's okay. It doesn't have to be for everyone. However, if you have a message, and the reason why I feel like midlifers specifically get to be on Clubhouse is because they have wisdom, they have knowledge, they are experts in one or more things, from living life for 4, 5, 6, 7 decades. And they have information to impart on other people. That's what I feel. I feel like I have information to impart on other people, and they get to hear it one on many. And you will find people are attracted to that There are people out there waiting to hear your story, waiting to hear your message. And way too many times, midlifers are ashamed, especially women, have a lot of shame around being a teen parent, marrying too early, not graduating college. I've coached these women I'm talking about. They coach because they didn't graduate high school, but they have a business that's thriving. It's like, what? And these things that are hanging over their heads, and some of them have been in abusive relationships and gotten out of it. Some of them are in recovery. They were addicts and they turned their life around. They're like me. They're a grandparent that came out of empty nesting, became a parent again, and felt like I knew nothing about raising a child because I'm doing it 30 years after my son, after I had to do it for my son. And then on top of it, my granddaughter had a learning difference, which I didn't know about. We didn't know about. So that was really cray. And you get to know that there are people out there like you, challenged, struggling, combating things, and your story can change someone's life, can turn someone around and be like, hey, I can get my life together, or I can go on this path, or that person can help me, and let me contact them, or let me come up to the stage, right? Because it's not like they're seeing it on Instagram or video. You're like, I can raise my hand and say, what about da 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 da? Because in the moment you get hit with these questions that you can raise your hand and come to the stage that you may forget if you wait to make a phone call. That's what I got for you. Contribute, that means you go in other people's room. That means, how do I put on my social media content? Well, with my social media content, I need to give value. What the hell does that mean? What does give value? It means,
I used to struggle with that one so much. I'm like, what is value?
Yeah, break it down. And so, I was on social media one night, just up a couple of nights, one night ago this week, some night this week. And I finally came to this girl's room. She said, I grew my following by, I don't know, 1,000 or 10,000 in a month because I decided to post my reels in series. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's what I do with my content on Clubhouse. And so it's seeing, like, I'm understanding social media from a Clubhouse content, creating content on Clubhouse. But those terms that you social media gurus are talking to laymen, you got to break them down. What does value mean? What does that mean? That means maybe give some stats, maybe give some data, give, they talk about give testimonials, but I didn't know what captions were before. I didn't know what the hell. They was like, this is the caption.
What? And I've been thinking about that. So I'm glad you said that.
What is a hook? They say with a good hook. What the hell is a hook? What is the captions?
I feel like hook's been around for a minute though. I must say, no? Okay.
I'm saying to you, with your demographic, you may want to start giving definitions for some of these terms.
No, we had a whole podcast. We had a whole channel that we used to do on it. And we stopped just because we just got busy, me and another person that we were doing. So you're making me think I do need to put that content out on Instagram though, and just have it be there. Because I know that my Instagram does become like a resource where people just go when they want to figure out something, because I do demystify it, right? I like to break down digital, because you're right. And so you're right. I'm just going to say you're right. I need to break it down to simple terms. And I'm like, but you should know that. No, you shouldn't. No, you should not know that.
With all that I have going on in my business, I just don't know it. I want to know it, but I don't know it. And it's the same thing with the reels. Somebody was saying, when you're shooting the reels, don't have the light facing you, turn it into facing a white wall so it can reflect back to you. And I was just like, yeah, because then it won't show my glasses. These types of things that we get to know. And when you see the people, they say, here are 6 something for you to use for your reels. And they put all these things down really quick that you can't really read. Right?
I've heard that as well.
You can't read them. and it doesn't, and so, and then you don't even know what they mean. Okay, not even, you can't read them, but when you do read them, what's that?
So give me an example. Give me an example. Here, I'm gonna give you my Instagram. I want you to give me an example of one of the posts that are just like, oh my gosh, what the heck is that? You know, like, so hold on a second. Let me get to my Instagram.
I didn't know what a hook was. I didn't know what captions were. I didn't know what that meant for months. For months.
Sorry, kids are talking to me.
It's all right. You hear them coming in and out of here?
Oh yeah, no, I did. That's all good. I totally get it. So I don't even, and like I said, the way that I do my podcast is like, this is me. You either with it or you're not. And I like to, you know, turn it into a joke at some points and stuff.
I like your backdrop. I like that. Follow me for more tips like this.
Yeah, I use it on TikTok. So I was like, I need to start putting it on my podcast interviews as well, because the one that I had up is more of my like nature calming for clients and stuff, so they know they can come and just relax and talk and get their content out and not have to feel pressure.
And I also appreciate the questions you asked, because I've been asking myself, like, what are my clients' pain points? And of course, when I'm talking to me, I'm like, what?
You can't get it out. Yeah. No,
like,
yeah.
What are the clients' pain point? What's pain point?
But also too, they're giving you so many different Clubhouse rooms that you can, I was going to tell you that at the end, it's like they're giving you so many different Clubhouse rooms that you can do Clubhouse rooms on, because they're telling you right there from the jump, right? Like, I'm not getting enough people in my room. Boom, that's a room for you, right? What was the other one? It was something else that you had said that I
hold on one second. Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Kendra. For my granddaughter tomorrow, but she don't know she having a surprise party. And so we get in, you know, this is my little play niece trying to take me to the supermarket to get a couple of things.
Okay, well, I'm gonna let you go. Look my stuff over. Send me a DM later on.
Let's look.
Well, I gotta roll anyway. I gotta go roll and meet.
I have about 10 minutes, but I'll look at it. But you know, it's just all the things that they like. 5 steps to 3 things you should know. Like, I'm in a group and they said, you know, make 4 content themes and then 3 subtopics to it. And I'm just like, what does that mean? 4 content themes? And it's like clarity, trends, you should know, do you know? And that confuses me. Like,
no, for you should be definitely honing down on just doing, number one, the more video. So that's first and foremost. But then just honing in on what folks are asking you and answering those questions in your captions, and then just putting that along with an image. And I think that's I know everybody talks about the content buckets and all the things, right?
Yeah, because they try to get me to create content for a year. And I'm just like,
you know, here's the thing. There's a way to do that, but there's a way to do that with your Clubhouse rooms. So take the audios that you're recording, because I know you're doing replays, right? Take those audios, but also turn on your camera. You talked about having your Google Doc up. So make sure you have your camera on and you're recording yourself as you're doing it, right? Okay. Right. And that way you can take that, because that's what I do in my rooms, right? I no longer do the rooms for the sake, like, nah. Like, I'm doing those rooms. These are podcast rooms. I'm taking this audio as a podcast, and I'm also taking this video as a video to put up on YouTube, right? Okay. So I don't care if nobody gonna come in. I don't even care. I'll talk to myself for 15, 20 minutes. But I know that somebody will listen to the replay. And I also know that I can use the other assets that I have there, and it will happen every Tuesday. So when I put it up on my YouTube, I'm going, but make sure you follow me on Clubhouse. And if you're not, you want to get in this room next Tuesday. I'm here every Tuesday to do these podcast interviews or do these podcast rooms about whatever I'm talking about at the time. Make sure you click on my handle down in the description and join me for the Q&A. And so now I've had people come because they want to sit and listen to me talk crazy for 15 minutes and then go into Q&A. So make sure you're just structuring it to where you can create the content once, but then utilize it over and over again. And when you have it in the ways that I'm talking about, all you have to do is put it all out there.
Yeah, Gary
Okay.
Vee, 64
Yep.
ways to use one piece of content.
Yeah, he's like the mainstay, right? Love it. I love it. And tell everyone that where they can find you and how they can find out about your moderation services.
You can find me on Instagram at Hardee Life. That's HARDEE, like here, Hardee Life on Instagram, at Hardee Life on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn at Natascha Hardee, right? So my name is uniquely spelled. We talked about that earlier, Natascha. It has an S and a C in it. It's either the S or the C, but I have both. And my last name is with 2 E's, so Natascha Hardee. And I am, and is that where I am? Those are the two places that I am on. And if you want to reach me by email, you can reach me by connecting with NATAHARDEE at gmail.com. So you can send me an email. And I just want to let you know, I'm starting a 4-week moderator boot camp for midlifers starting on Monday, December 6th. And we'll probably do this cycle again because y'all may this may be past Monday, right? So the 6th, but we will be doing this again in January. I'm going to do 4-week cycles, and I don't play. We get the basics together, and then you're moderating rooms within the next 5 days. I'm not playing. Clubhouse is on the board. We don't wait. We don't want baptized by fire. That's what we do.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so I have one last one. I lied because I always ask people this, and I want to make sure I ask you as well. What was the one thing you wanted to be when you were a kid? What did you want to be when you grew up? Or no, your favorite TV show. That was the one I wanted. Your favorite TV show. What was your favorite TV show when you were a kid?
My favorite TV show, I wouldn't say when I was a kid, more like when I was a teenager, was Little House on the Prairie. And what I wanted to be when I grew up was a dancer. And I did that for a period of time. But yeah, but I still
Awesome. Yeah.
I better go check out my reels on Instagram because I'm
her reels are hilarious, by the way, which is the reason why I reached out. It wasn't necessarily Clubhouse. It wasn't the room. It was when I went to her Instagram. And if I could leave you guys with something, know that if you're going to use Instagram or use Clubhouse, then you definitely need to make sure you're taking the continuum over to Instagram because people will go and check you out. So make sure you're the same person you are on Clubhouse. On Instagram, you're showing a visual of who you are because she did